I'm already laughing. Like, this is just going to be a banter video. It's going to be great. What's up, guys? This is the House from Gun Gamers.
I'm Kyle.
And today's video is about how you damn kids don't know how good you have it. You know, to our audience of mostly not kids.
You're probably all the same age of us, and you actually know this, but we're going to reiterate it anyways. Share it with the kids.
Yeah, share it with the kids. Let the kids know what's up. Or just newer players in general. But Kyle and I were talking today, and it has occurred to us that the quality of airsoft gun and airsoft ammo and everything that is available now is so different from how it used to be.
Yeah, I started at the beginning of what I called the clone revolution, and when I first came in, you could only buy $300 guns, and they can't come close to what a $150 gun can.
Can we get a year? Do you have a year that you want?
Let's say around 2005.
Yeah. And I got into the game starting around 2007, but I don't really quite count that because I did a lot of backyard bullshit from like 2006 to 2008. I'd say 2008 is the year I really got into it.
Yeah.
But even in those days, CYMA was crap your money away.
Yeah. No, it was garbage. Because if you look, and the perfect example is Evic's site, because Evic is the #1 retailer for all this stuff. I'm not plugging them. We don't have any relationship to them. It's like, if you look at their site, though, and you look at this is a CYMA AK, and you look at it, and they put ranges estimated on those guns. And they said that this gun used to range like 100 to 120 feet. And back then, that was real. That's how far the guns shot. That's what they did. They were all shooting around 1 joule. The hop-ups were hot trash. And heavy ammo didn't exist.
No, even when I started, if you were using .25 gram BBs, you were like you were on the ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
.28s were the heavy ammo starting in like 2010. Like that was the ammo that was when people started pushing to 2.8s.
Yeah.
You didn't see people using 3s, 3.2s, 3.6s in standard rifles.
Oh no.
Until I'd say HPA really started pushing that when HPA came out in like 2013, because then people started using like 4s and HPA guns because no one knew about jewel creep, initially at least.
Yes.
And now people are using, oh my god, I can get so much more range with 3.2s in my AEG.
Oh yeah.
No one did that.
No.
Because you couldn't, because most AEGs couldn't hop that.
No, I mean, we had, they couldn't lift the hop up. The gearboxes were garbage. I mean, I had a good TM. I had a good Classic Army. I still actually have a Classic Army from that era. We should really dig into it.
Oh my god, we should look at that.
Yeah, we should see what it can do. But like a gearbox, like nowadays, you throw like this gun. It came with the equivalent of a 130 in it. Why?
At least.
I have no idea.
It was shooting like 475 feet per second.
Why? I don't know. But like, it was holding up to that. It could do that, and it could put on a 7.4. It was pulling that, and the motor could handle it. And
on 11.1, it actually was snappy.
It was snappy. And back then, a gun couldn't pull a 120 without modifying it. Like, your gearbox melted itself if your battery could pull it. It was bad.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the tail end of that era. I admit I'm not so old that I don't remember good clone guns. But I remember on the tail end of, if you wanted a gun that performed the way a stock Crytek or VFC does now,
oh my god,
you had to pour like $500
absolutely
into a build.
No, like what this gun, now this gun is going through continuing modifications, but this gun today, out of the box, we had to put a lower spring in it, and then we swapped the barrel on it, and it's shooting over 200 feet. I mean, the only way you could shoot 200 feet years ago was with a high-end sniper. Not even, like, you couldn't buy one off the shelf that would shoot that far.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like getting before, because flat hop and R hop are relatively recent innovations.
Oh, yeah.
Those didn't really exist.
No.
Which is part of why no one really used heavy ammo, because there was no good way to hop them.
Correct.
And also, like W-hold hop-up buckings, like the Crytek bucking, were not very popular, and if they did exist, were often not very good.
No.
I remember when, like, the KWA 2GX bucking came out, which incidentally was designed by the same people who then went and made Crytek.
Yes.
That was a big deal, that it was a W-hole bucking, that people saw how those guns shot out of the box when they came out.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's not to say that good hop-ups didn't exist, because if you look at old TMs that are shooting under a joule, they could lift 2.5s. To shoot under a joule and lift 2.5s, that's good. But once higher power started coming into play, it's not what they could do. And that higher power range that, you know, on average in the US now, you know, a lot of guns are running 1.5 joules.
Yeah.
And first of all, that didn't exist on fields. A lot of places wouldn't even let you use 1.5 joules back then. And second of all, even if you could, you couldn't get the ammo to run it in, and you couldn't lift it anyways.
Yeah.
The change in range and quality is astounding.
Yeah, I remember like getting 200-foot range out of a DMR back in like 2008 to 2010 was a good DMR. That was good range. Now we filmed a video last year where I was able to hit 250 feet with a sub 1.5 joule gun. That is unheard of back then.
Oh yeah, you couldn't. If somebody told you that, I'd say, yeah, they're making that up. There's no way they shoot that.
And
far.
you can run 11-1s in a ton of stuff out of the box.
When lipos came out, you know, everything, it was a big deal because KWA was the first people to say, oh, this is lipo ready. And the reason why that term came out is because people were shoving these 11-1s from RC cars and stuff into their guns, because the RC market took it first before anything else. And guns were destroying themselves. I can't tell you how many gearboxes and pistons I saw stripped over lipos. And I actually didn't switch to lipos for years after they came out, because every time I'd see someone, oh, they run fine, and then their gearbox would shred itself. I mean, guns could not internally be at the standards that they are today. It's amazing, the difference.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even certain brands, the difference. Like, this is a full steel and wood AK from CYMA. A lot of us probably remember when CYMA was best known for their garbage plastic MP5.
Yes.
The CMO-28 was the first, like, clone AEG, along with like the UTG MP5 that came out, that really proved to people, hey, these can be pretty decent.
Yeah.
And decent back then, not decent today.
Yeah, and example of what you get for your money too, because for example, this is $155, right? And you get a steel body, a wood kit, and a super high-end motor, a really
this is a neodymium magnet motor. This actually is strong fucking magnets that were holding on to shit from my tool bag.
You know, a metal hop up. I mean, you couldn't buy this back in the day. And you could custom make one, but you'd have to start with a $300
The closest would
gun.
be VFC.
Yeah.
Used to make something kind of like this, but I think those had a plastic hop up. Their internals were not very good. They had plastic bushings. This has metal bushings.
Yes.
And steel gears and a pretty decent set of internals overall.
Yeah.
Compared to what you used to get from a VFC 74U that went for like $300+.
Yeah. In the 10 to 15 year ago range, this would have been a $500 gun.
Yeah.
It really would have been it's a $150 gun now, but it would have been a $500 gun to set it up that way. No exaggeration. And at $500, it still wouldn't shoot as well as this one did. Because the R-hop and the weight technology still didn't exist. So, I mean, it's impressive how far things have gone.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's just cool, because then you see companies come out and keep pushing the envelope of what can be had for less and less money.
Exactly.
I mean, Crytek really pushed the M4 AEG into its new era. I think a lot of people would agree. Now everyone's trying to compete with what Crytek offered out of the box. That's why VFC's new offerings are so fucking good.
You know what I think was a huge catalyst for this? Polarstar.
Yes, I agree. I think HPA coming out
forced AEGs to have to up their game to be competitive, because otherwise it was Polarstar nothing, because when that first came out, Polarstars were crushing, mostly due to jewel creep we know now, but the AEG said, shit, we got to be able to cycle fast and be reliable if we're going to compete, otherwise we're going to get outplayed.
And be user serviceable. That's another change I've observed.
Yes.
Everything used to be built with a ton of screws, clamshell bodies, Tokyo Marui spec AK disassembly, was a fucking nightmare.
Now, that's quite true. ICS kind of cornered the market for that. With the
ICS did start.
Yeah.
ICS started it. But I think that's really taken off recently.
Yes.
Because so many more people are into modifying their guns, and people who are into modifying their guns have more of a voice in the market with more US-based distribution.
Yes.
And with more US-based brands.
No, before, if you wanted any of this shit, it was almost all overseas at that time.
Yeah.
It was almost, if you needed parts.
Every company was owned overseas. There was no real United States-based customer service. But now G&G, KWA, Crytek, Elite Force, even ICS has a U.S. presence.
Yeah.
Classic Army USA. Classic Army didn't have a U.S. branch. They didn't have a U.S. branding.
No.
But now they have Classic Army USA, which is a bunch of American dudes who work there.
Yes. No, I mean, you could always get, there's always plenty of guns in the U.S. I certainly won't change that. But the part supply is huge.
Part support, nothing. We were just working on a gun recently.
From that era.
Yeah, an Apex from, Apex was big. I think they shut down in 2015 or 2016.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think they came into the market around 2012, 2013. They tried to be pushed by retailers for a few years, and then they shut down. But Apex used a bunch of proprietary parts, and you couldn't get them back then, and you can't get them now. So that gun is permanently stuck on semi-auto. But now, so many brands offer so much better parts support. Yeah. And if they don't offer parts support, they usually offer parts that are compatible with the aftermarket.
Correct. Yes. And that gets a lot more support, especially because a lot of more people, I would say more and more people are teching on their guns because it's become easier to do so.
And guns can run for longer if you take care of them.
Yes. I would say guns, I would say the last 5 to 7 years, guns have started running much longer lifespans.
Would it be fair to say, because I've been hard on my stuff for as long as I've been playing, the gun I've owned the longest is, I'm going to take this light, and the gun I've owned the longest is this Crytek CRB that I've kept running for 4 years. I've had to do all kinds of repairs to it over those 4 years, just from various parts that wear and tear and from my abuse, frankly. But could you keep a gun running for 4 years with the level of use I've given this gun back in the day?
No, you would have had to replace almost every single part in it, including the body. The body would have probably broke, because back then.
Well, I did break the body on this once.
That's true, you did. But back in the day, there was.
If you broke a body, it was 50-50 on if you could get a new one.
Oh yeah, because I remember one kid, he would snap AUG bodies because the cold. And then he ran into something, and the entire body just broke into 3 pieces and stuff like that. It's the durability. I mean, airsoft guns are, they have limits. They're not quite real guns.
Yeah.
But the durability is dramatically improved. I would say more on the inside than the outside. Because before, what would happen? They would snap off at the barrel early on. That was their really bad spot. But now it's, you break receivers by, how'd you do it? I don't know. It went down a flight of stairs, or I fell into a tree, or it's dumb shit that you're like, shit breaks when that happens. But now we're heading to the next step, which is crazy external durability with the internal durability. I think the MTW is going to set off another wave of changes. I really do. Yeah,
the Wolverine MTW and then the Polar Star PR-15.
Yes, that one
I think those are going to push the market in new and interesting directions. The MTW maybe more so because it's more affordable.
Yes.
But the Polar Star PR-15 is going to be the new PTW, in my opinion.
I agree. Because now one of my biggest gripes is what I never understood is why the bodies of airsoft guns were not built to the same standard as real receivers. Because you know what? Real guns, a lot of them, they're not built as crazy as you think they are. And it's really not hard to build that style. And that's why they're built the way they are as real ones. But instead, all we get is shitty pot metal. And there's really no reason for it. Because the cost difference between shitty pot metal and getting, a aluminum steel, or the 775 receivers, there's not a huge price gap, and we would definitely pay it, especially, the premium players. You've been playing for a while and you want to invest in a good gun, look at the pricing of the MTW. I think it's a steal by comparison. And I think we're going to see that change where it's going to be real steel grade parts are going to start transitioning in. I think that's the next step. And Real Sword, I think, was the first people to do that.
Real Sword, then E&L and LCT have both been, because AKs, ironically, have been at the forefront of where a lot of this external build advancement has taken place. Because AKs are, by design, very easy to manufacture.
Yes.
So making airsoft spec AK receivers basically the same way and out of largely the same materials as the real ones is easy.
Yes.
So that's ironically where we've seen the external build quality really take off.
Yes. Yeah, because, you never hear people talking about cracking AK receivers.
Yeah. When's the last time someone broke a CYMA steel AK? And that's just a $150 gun. You wouldn't expect it to be that durable. Back in the day, SRC had their RPK, and the tangs would break off that held the stock.
Yes.
When's the last time you heard someone talk about an LCT or a CYMA breaking the stock tangs?
I did that on my TM. I had a TMAK, and I broke the stock tangs on it.
I broke the whole back of a receiver on a G&G AK back in the day because they used magnesium.
Yep.
When now there's no reason to because steel.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that this high quality, and this isn't even the highest quality. This is
this is a CYMA. There's still gremlins that can live in the gearbox. Quality control is always an issue with any China-based brand. This happens to be a very good example.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. Quality control, I think, is where we see a lot of the pricing differences. I think this would probably be a $200 to $250 gun with the next level of quality control and maybe some more electronics integrated into the gearbox.
Correct. I agree.
But as of right now, you can get this for $150, $160.
Correct.
And that was never the case. And quality control was a problem even in the $300+ guns back in the day.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why Classic Army went so downhill so quickly and has had to have a resurgence lately because their quality control back in the day was terrible.
Well, no, it's like when they came out with their 249. I remember when the 249 came out, people bought, and it was like, I think $550 or $600.
Yeah.
It was expensive as fuck. And they get it, and the hop-up is garbage. On all, not just some of them, all
the whole design was garbage.
The whole design was garbage. So you bought a $600 gun, and it was fucked. And you needed to fix it out of the box. But that was acceptable at the time. And it was so acceptable that Star came into existence.
Yep.
And Star, a lot of you, if you haven't been playing a long time, you've probably never heard of Star.
I remember Star. I remember the tail end of Star, but I remember Star.
Okay, so Star made super expensive guns, all in that $500 to $600 range, and they had clear plastic gearboxes. I shit you not. This Lexan. Yeah, it was garbage plastic. Don't let them lie to you. I mean, and there was zero parts support. The part support was so bad. That's what drove the company under. Because I know a couple people who had those guns because they loved them because apparently when they ran great. But then when they broke, you couldn't get parts.
And they had plastic bodies.
Because
the M60 had a plastic body. And the Ares M60 later on still did.
Yeah.
Now it's sold as the ASG Mark 43.
Yes.
That is an Ares M60.
Yeah. And you literally could not buy the parts to fix them. And that was acceptable for high premiums at a time. That's how far things have gone. Nowadays, could you imagine if somebody released a $500 249 with a plastic body, a plastic gearbox, and said, "Oh yeah, there's no part support, by the way."
No one would buy it. They'd buy a fucking A&K and gut the internals.
Exactly. It's dumb, but back then, that's where quality was at, that people would actually spend that kind of money for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the A&K was a huge deal when it came out.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
It's crazy. It's just funny to watch how all these things have changed.
Yeah, and that's why I think the MTW is going to be the next big change. Taking tons of real steel parts and increased quality. Because, we see it on the AK side. We're doing pretty good. There was rumors that the Real Sword was actually using... real modified receivers.
Oh, they were. They were using Norinco receiver. Yeah. Well, because Real Sword was using Norinco parts.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see that. I think that's going to be the next.
E&L even is actually MA and Land Arms, and MA is a subcontractor for Norinco. So that's another real firearms factory making airsoft parts.
Exactly. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. And I think the U.S. market, especially for the licensing, would love to get on that. Because when people realize how big of a market is and Real Steel is becoming more friendly to airsoft, that they're going to want to see their stuff, but they're going to want to see their stuff not be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Fucking Travis Haley plays airsoft now.
Exactly.
Could you imagine back in the day, renowned shooters being totally unashamed to be like, yeah, I play BB Wars.
Oh my God. Yeah, imagine if Jerry Mikulik played BB Wars 15 years ago. People would lose their minds.
Yeah, the level of, because actually Greg Wong, Spartan 117 GW, put it in an interesting way. He posted, he said, it's funny how airsofters who grew up looking up to their favorite Real Steel shooters, those Real Steel shooters now have kids who look up to some of the airsofters who grew up looking up to their dads.
Yes. Yes.
And it's crazy. It's weird to think about, but that is kind of true because some of those kids get into airsoft, and that's what happened with Travis Haley. His son started getting into airsoft, and now he's into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to play with him airsoft.
Oh my god, I would play airsoft with Travis Haley. I met him at SHOT Show once. He was the most awesome dude. He was super chill. He was at the EVIC booth.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. You told me that he was at the EVIC booth. But yeah, I would say that concludes our bitch fest, and we have a good feeling about where.
Was this even really bitching, or was this just like nostalgia?
This was a little bit of nostalgia.
This is a little bit of a nostalgia trip, I think.
It made us feel better.
Yeah, I mean, it mostly reminds me that Kyle is older than me, which is great.
It makes me sad. Because now I do this and I tell people about this. They're like, how old are you? What's wrong with you? How do you remember these things? And I'm like, fuck.
All right. Yeah, I think this was a fun little trip down memory lane. Maybe you found it enjoyable. Hopefully you had a glass of whiskey with us as we did so. Anyways, I'm E-House.
I'm Kyle.
We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you for watching this video from Gun Gamers. We hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. Check the description below if you'd like to buy a t-shirt or a patch, and use the coupon code JUDY10 for 10% off of your next order at Amped Airsoft. Thank you again for watching, and praise Judy.